Hi everybody, we're actually out on a bit of a road trip towards the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand, heading down to a city called Tauranga. I'll take you along for a little ride in the C180. You pick up a little bit of a supercharger sound now and again, which is quite nice. The road along here into Tauranga is a nice road, takes us through quite a lot of forestry country. We're just taking it pretty easy, sitting on about 85 kilometers an hour. These roads are fine if you don't go too fast. Keep your speed at a moderate level, and they're fairly comfortable, fairly easy to negotiate. Cafe there, Pancake House. At these speeds, the C180 is only running at about 1800 RPM. Beautiful views out on this road. That's looking out towards the coast there. That's the east coast, Bay of Plenty. Absolutely magical area. A little bit of roadworks. Looks like they're going to widen this bit of road here, which is probably a good idea. The population in Tauranga is growing. It's fairly close to Auckland, and a lot of people are retiring from Auckland down to Tauranga. The climate there is very nice, and very nice beaches, and still reasonably close to Auckland if you need to do business. small day trip. Left Auckland this morning, headed across to a place called Pairoa, then down to Waihi, and we're heading from Waihi to Tauranga. From Tauranga we'll go to Rotorua, and from Rotorua we'll head back around to Hamilton and back up to Auckland. I guess it'll be about maybe 500 kilometers total drive. I'll make a few videos along the way just to give you an idea of the beautiful countryside. The C180 compressor is running like a dream. Very smooth little car for open road touring. Many of you will know what I mean. Quite a nice, easy car to drive. Handling, of course, is very nice, especially on some of these windy roads. Well, that was the end of the roadworks for now. Our open road speed limit is mainly 100 k's an hour. Some places it's down to 90. Other places it's up to 110. Temperature here today is about 24 degrees Celsius, which is just nice. Like we've got some more reduced speed. Down to 50. This part of the country's got a lot of orchards, big on kiwi fruit. It's actually a very nice part of the North Island. We spend quite a bit of time over here when we can. You can still buy reasonably nice homes over here for under $1 million New Zealand, which is nice compared to the Auckland prices. So I've seen some houses down here for say maybe $500,000 to $700,000. That's about say what would that be? About maybe 400,000 US. Most of the cars you come across, there's a BMW, older series, but a lot of the cars on the road are either Korean, Japanese or Australian. Car in front of us is an Australian Ford Falcon station wagon. They're pretty much limited to this part of the world, Australia and New Zealand market. Some made their way to South Africa, but that was about their limit. Price of gas has been going up because of the conflict we have now in Ukraine, Russia invading there. Price of petrol today I'm paying about $2 80 a litre, New Zealand dollars a litre of gas. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the 91 octane. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes up to $3 a litre by the end of next week. There's talk of it going up fairly quickly. See these big shelter belts everywhere for the orchards. So we've got a tractor ahead of us. That'll reduce our speed. I've had a few of these Ford Falcons over the years, not the station wagon model. They are a straight six, 250 cubic inch straight six with a 4 or 6 speed auto transmission. Pretty thirsty on gas, but they're a pretty strong old engine, and it's an Australian design car. It's not really anything else much like it, and they sort of split away a bit from the early 60s when the Falcon Australia and the Falcon in America was pretty much the same car. Early 60s, that 61 62 model Falcon and the Futura, from that time on they then sort of split away to more of an Australian unique body style. I imagine that the engine was still pretty much the same engine for a long time, that classic old 200 cubic inch straight six, pre-cross flow, cast iron head, etc., and then went up to the 250. Then we went from there to the cross flow engine, and I think at that stage they started being more of an Australian design. This is a really nice little town here called Katikati. Place that full of cafes and little shops, very nice. This road is pretty much the only real road down into Tauranga from Auckland. It's the most popular road to take, so it gets fairly heavy. So as we go through Katikati, it's fairly typical of a small New Zealand town. In the old days, this would have been on a stagecoach route right back in the early times. So this is Katikati, Bay of Plenty, North Island, New Zealand. Nice old hotel there. Remember, a lot of our old buildings in New Zealand are made out of timber. Nice little main street. This has got a 5-speed auto transmission, and sometimes it'll shift down into 4th. So there we go, he's pulled away. It's a quiet little town, and mainly it's a place you drop in for coffee or some snack on the way through from Auckland to Tauranga. The population here is quite small. Oh dear, we've got some, what's this going on about? Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a bit of protesting going on at the moment about the mandating of the COVID vaccinations. I haven't got too involved in it myself personally, but it is going on in the country at the moment. I've got my vaccinations, and I just keep my head down and keep a close eye on the size of the groups I get to, and also wear my mask all of the time. Being an older person, I don't want to take any real risks. So that was Caddy. It's a small little town. Serves some of the areas around here would be mainly orchards, so got a lot of industry around here for the orchards. And population is mainly retired people. I think they've got some retirement villages here as well. So the road's not too bad, as long as people take their time, keep to the left, and keep their speeds down. Unfortunately, this particular road has got a fairly bad reputation for crashes, and I've always wondered why, because I've been on this road many times, and I think a lot of it is just excessive speed. Ahead of us, there's ranges of mountain range, if you like. It's not really a mountain range, but it's got some quite high elevations. That's called the Kaimais. We'll take that a little bit later on today. That'll get us over the other side of the North Island to the west coast. We're basically on the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand, heading south. So I'm just taking it pretty easy in the Mercedes. This particular model is extremely economical at these sort of speeds, 100 k's and a little bit under, because it's only an 1800cc engine. And those of you that know these cars will know it's typical Mercedes. Everything is like totally over-engineered, so complicated and so difficult to get access to some of the parts that you hardly believe it. But that's the way they are engineered, and you sort of got to accept it if you're going to own one of these things, especially if you're going to do a lot of your own maintenance. So I have decided to do the timing chain. I've bought a complete timing chain kit, including gasket rubbers for the all of the top covers. It's on its way. It's actually a German part, so I thought I'd go proper. And I've also bought a tool for removing the link, and also for crushing the new link back into place. And so the job I'm going to do this stage, it's done 184,000 kilometers or so. I'm going to replace the main timing chain and sprockets, and I'm going to replace the guides and the tensioner, and I think that should be enough for now. So it means I don't have to go down as far as the crankshaft and the harmonic balancer. So I'm only working in the top half there, which is quite easy. I've looked at a lot of YouTubes on how to do it. It looks fairly straightforward. Take my time, use my tools, I'm sure I'm going to be fine. So when I get to that stage, which will probably be in another month, the parts will take a while to arrive. When they arrive and I schedule a time, I'm expecting to do it over just one weekend, and I'll give you a look at what I'm doing. I know there are lots of videos online of people changing the cam chains on this engine. It's the M271 C180 compressor engine, and for some stupid reason they decided to use a single link chain. No idea why Mercedes did that. They'd use a double link chain and a decent size sprocket, so I'm sure the system would last the length of the whole lifespan of the engine. But in their wisdom, they decided to go that way, and it's notorious for stretching and taking out the teeth on the variable timing sprockets on the camshafts. At that stage, you can lose your time, and the worst situation is you can whack the valves down into the pistons and totally destroy your engine. So that's a job I'm going to do. I was going to do an inspection of the cam chain, and I thought, no, I'll get the gear anyway, and so I'll just go ahead and do it. I have had a little look with the boroscope camera in through the oil filler, and it did look fine. I couldn't see any damage on any of the sprockets, but I do know that the chain has stretched, because I get a little chain rattle for just an instant when I first start up. That's a bit of an indication that things aren't as good as what they should be. So that's a little job that I'm coming up, that I'll be getting onto coming up in a few weeks. Just depends how long it takes for the parts to arrive. I bought them about a week ago. I was quoted a figure from Mercedes New Zealand here of $6,000 to do that job. First of all, I thought they'd made a mistake, so I emailed them back and said, you sure you said 6,000? They said, oh yes. And I thought, you've got to be kidding. Buy a whole car for that price. So anyway, we're down to 30 k's here. I think that was including, though, doing the bottom sprocket and the bottom chain that picks up the oil pump, etc., and it picks up those balance shafts. I'm not going to be doing that. That end is typically pretty good. You don't hear many problems at that bottom end, so I'm just going to stick to the main chain that drives the camshafts. I think that will do me for the time that I'll own this vehicle for. It's actually quite interesting, because you see some of these for sale from anywhere from about 160 k's up to about, say, 250 k's, going for next to nothing, just about parts value, because the damn cam chain has snapped, or it's actually ruined all of these sprockets, and it's got out of time and damaged the engine. So it seems to be that it can let go at some pretty low mileages, actually, which is a bit disturbing. All I can put that down to is maybe our previous owners didn't do enough scheduled oil changes, and maybe didn't use the right quality of oil and filter. So I know this car has had absolutely religiously had its scheduled oil changes and filter changes, and it's been running on the Mobil 1 types, fully synthetic oils and stuff. So I think that should hopefully get me through to this sort of mileage without any damage. But I'm going to be replacing the timing sprockets anyway. It's one of the joys of buying a reasonably higher mileage second-hand one of these cars. I think you'd be fairly lucky to buy one that hasn't been that has had that job done on it, because I think if anybody spent that sort of money, they're probably going to hang on to it for quite a lot longer to get that value back out of it. So the parts have cost me about less than $500 New Zealand, and the labour will be nothing. I'll do that myself, so I think I'm going to get a fairly good deal out of the whole job. Slow down here a bit, John. And that'll then give me peace of mind. They're doing quite a lot of work down here. Making our way closer to Tauranga, we should get some better views of the coastline. This has gone a little bit inland at the moment. As you can see, it's a really nice day today. A little bit of cloud, but that's quite typical for us. We don't always get a completely clear sky, but the cloud is not not going to be an issue at all. Not anticipating any rain at all today, and there's no wind. So slowly the road is getting better, more passing lanes, wider roads, and making them safe as they can. So this road is getting a lot of use from Auckland, mainly from Aucklanders. There's a lot of traffic going north at the moment to Auckland. Not so much traffic today going south, although I am probably in the middle of some. So a road like this, I'm sitting at just about 80 k's. It's a very comfortable drive at this speed. If I was to take it up to say 100, it just becomes quite a drive. You've got to really be driving at that sort of speed on a road like this. We've got some where we have longer straights, etc., where you can just sort of let it ride up to 100 k's quite nicely. You never know when you're going to come across a speed camera, and they will get you at just over 100 k's. Again, plenty of orchards along here. It's actually quite a pleasant little drive. Small little place we're going to be passing through. Little country area. Changes back from 5th to 4th very nicely. That gas there is $2.72 a litre. That's not bad. It's not a bad price today. Won't stay that low for long. It's been gradually creeping up this since the middle of last year, from about 2.30, maybe 2.40 $2.40 or so a litre, but now we're getting closer to $3 a litre. When you're running on the 98 octane, you're paying over $3 a litre everywhere for that one now. Because I don't give this a hard time, I'm just ticking along on 91. A lot of people suggest I should be running this on the 98, but I'm not expecting any problems from running on the lower octane. The engine is running fine, there's no pre-detonation or anything, and I'm certainly not driving this car hard in any way at all. So I'm sort of going more for economy, and you save a few dollars by buying the cheaper gas. Place. Heck, that one's down to $2.69 for 91 and $2.93 for 98. That's actually pretty sharp. It's a pretty sharp price actually. It's pretty good. That's an Australian company, Gull. They've started to spread out to New Zealand, and a pretty good competition for Mobil and the other larger stations, Caltex and Mobil. They tend to be slightly cheaper. Some of them are self-service as well, which brings the price down a little bit. Back out on the open road again. Heck, that's a bad corner. There's a lot of crosses there. Wonder what happened there. I mean, it's not a bad corner, but something has gone terribly wrong there for some people. We get a little bit of that around the country where there'll be a white cross to signify the loss of a life on the road at that point. It's quite sobering to see these. Basically just cruising along at about 80 k's an hour, which I think for this road is about right. Okay, this little place called Tipuna. much here. I think it's just a gas station, maybe some fruit shops. Looks like maybe a little department store, a little grocery shop, that sort of stuff. A little bit of industry. A little roundabout here to go round. So we're heading to Tauranga and Mount Maunganui, which is sort of part of Tauranga really. It's the seaside part of Tauranga City. I do like the smoothness of the supercharger power curve, if you like. The model after this comes out with the turbocharged engine. I've heard some good things about it. Apparently it's very smooth, very low on the turbo lag, but I don't know. I think I am preferring the supercharger. You've got it all the way through the rev range. You can sort of feel it there at low speeds as well. Feels quite torquey, to be honest. So it sort of limits you up to sort of maybe about 2007, 2008 or so. Close to 2010, I think, is when most of them went to the turbocharged engine. What I can gather from my research and looking on these engines, that is the time that I believe that the cam chain goes to the rear of the engine, which just makes it a very a different job altogether to change the cam chain compared to being able to work from the front of the engine, where at least you've got some reasonable access. Outside temperatures around 25 to 26 degrees. It's a very pleasant day actually. Here we go, we've now entered Tauranga. So I'm going to finish off this video shortly. This is one of the outskirts of Tauranga called Bethlehem. Small, so like a suburb I guess now of Tauranga. But we're in the Tauranga region, regional area for the Tauranga city. So I'm going to close off this video and I'll make another one a little bit further on in the day. Thank you very much for taking the time out to drop in and see this video. Hopefully for some of you out of New Zealand, it gives you a little idea of our roads over here and our countryside, small towns, etc. A big thank you to those of you that have subscribed to my small channel. Up to just on about 200 subscribers, so I'm very happy with it. I never thought I'd ever get that many people that would be interested in connecting onto this. So I do appreciate every one of you for doing that. Hopefully some of the content that I put up here is stuff that you would like to see. Actually, if there is something particular you'd like to see more of, just put a little comment there. I'd be happy to sort of include a few more other things. So I'm just going to close this off now and catch you later. Thank you.